let's get started just like usual. We're finding our length, stacking through our spine here. Chin tucks back for 10. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let's reset. Pull that length back up again. Here we go with our head turns. 1, back to center. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, moving on to our timed part of our workout. We're going to do 2 rounds of 6 warm-up moves here, 30 seconds each. And our first one is going to be a front press with a heel tap. Okay, so this will look the same seated here. Okay, so that is our first one. Then we're going to go from there. We're going to go into our goalpost hinge. We're going to do our A-B. So we'll do 2 rounds of those 2 first and then move on, okay? So here we go with our front tap and front press to heel tap in 3, 2, and 1. We are on, oh boy, that's so loud. Let me just turn that down a little bit. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, guys. So seated or standing here. Got 15 more seconds and we'll set up right for our goalpost hinge. We're going to get 2 rounds of this and then we'll move on to the next 2 exercises. So that's how we'll get all 2 sets in today. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now we're going to go into that goalpost. We're going to hinge, extend our arms out in that hinge, pull them back down and up. Okay, so seated hinge, extend, pull those elbows back, up. Okay, so seated or standing here. We're going to go back to those heel taps and front press next. 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Back to that first exercise. We've got 1 more set of those goalpost hinges after this, and then we're going to move on to the next 2. 10 more seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, here we go. Setting up for our goalpost. And now hinging, pushing the hips back, extending, pulling the elbows back down, up. Keeping that belly button to spine. Next, we're going to widen our stance. And we're going to go into an alternating lateral shift. Okay, so our opposite arm is going to reach towards our opposite foot. In 3, 2, 1, let's take a further step out. Reach, reach, reach. Okay, seated, same idea. Reach, reach. Okay, we're pairing this one with an inside ankle tap, okay? So I'll show you what that looks like when we get to it. Working on some hip mobility right now. 3, 2, 1, inside ankle tap. You don't actually have to tap your ankle if your body doesn't want to move that far. All right, but think about how we're getting this internal rotation in the hip here, warming up our hips. Easily done seated as well, okay? So we're going to go back to that lateral shift after this one. 3, 2, and 1. Back to our shift. Pushing that hip back, right? Think of the hip going back versus the knee going forward. Feet stay planted on the ground. Heel included. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, second round of these heel taps. Warming up that ball and socket joint in our hips. 10 more seconds here, then we're going to move on to the third pair. We're going to start with our transverse squat. 3, 2, and 1. So now this is where we start at 12, and then we come to, what's this side, 9, and then we're going to come out, unless it looks backward on camera, to 3. Okay. So see how our hips and that internal and external rotation are still included in our warm up here. If you're seated, you're doing a lateral tap leg extension. 3, 2, and 1. Last move here, we're going to do our backstroke rotation here. So feet stay planted. Now we're working on that rotation through the upper body and shoulders. Five more seconds here, then we're going to do one more round of those squats and this exercise. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, final set of our transverse squats. Adding that rotation, coming back to center, and then other side. All right, think of the hands of a clock, and we're working with the 12 o'clock hour, the 9 o'clock hour, and the 3 o'clock hour with our feet. 3, 2, and 1. Final set, backstroke rotation. We're going to move on 2 blocks today. One is going to be similar to last week, a little different, but similar. And then we're doing a core block after that, standing abs. Just 10 more seconds here, a little less actually. 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Okay, so we have an 8 exercise circuit, but we're going to do 2 rounds of it, but we're still going to get our 3 sets. So our first round is going to be ABAB. So it'll be 16 minutes long. Okay. Then we'll take a brief recovery period and do it one more time, like our ABCD. But then we'll take a brief period after the 2 rounds and then finish it off with one more solid set and then move on to our core exercises. So we're going to start with our balanced goal fly. Okay, so this is going to still warm up our shoulders here, and we're going to work on that balance and stability, half the time on one foot, half the time on the other. If you need to make it, if you're somewhere in between here, okay, you can always march it too. Okay, marching is a good option here, but you may find if you're having a hard time keeping the knee forward, you're somewhere in between, maybe try the foot back. Okay, you might find a little more stability there. Maybe not, but if you're feeling frustrated, if you feel like you can't keep your balance, try that one. And if not, go to the marching. Okay, we're going to start with that. And then we're going to go into our hinge. Now, today, what we're going to do with our hinge, we don't have our row with it, but this is what I want you to think about. I want you to think about keeping those dumbbells knuckles forward. Okay, so your knuckles should be facing me. Okay, and keeping those dumbbells relatively close to the body. Okay, so watch how I slide down my legs here. Okay, and just go as far as you can to keep a neutral spine, right? We want to be nice and straight through our back, okay? So keeping those dumbbells close to the body will help push our hips back. The next 2 exercises are going to be alternating lunges and a dumbbell. I'm only going to give you the first 4, okay? The dumbbell press to an alternating halo. So we're going to press forward and then halo. Press, halo, okay? All right, so there are our first 4 exercises. I'll tell you the second 4 when we get there, okay? We're starting with that balanced goal post fly, and if you're seated, you're right here, okay? All right, we're going to do this for our 45-15. Here we go. Balance and fly. We keep this one body weight in 3, 2, and 1, or a very light pair of weights or water bottles. Okay. Oh wait, we're doing them Sorry, I marched it. You can march it as an option. Otherwise, we're trying to fire up our neuromuscular system here. I'll tell you when to switch. In 3, 2, and 1, let's switch sides. We're going to go into our deadlift next, but then we're going to go back. We're going to repeat this. Remember, it's our AD, just like our warm-up. 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Let's grab our weights. We're going to do that hinge. Okay, so we're going to keep those dumbbells close to the body. And before we start, roll your shoulders back and down. Okay, we don't want our shoulders up near our ears. Here we go. We're going to begin. We're going to hinge. Keep those dumbbells relatively close to the body. And you're only going down as far as you feel that stretch and your spine staying neutral. And then you're using your glutes and hamstrings to stand back up. Keep going with this. If you're seated, you're going to be doing your alternating leg press here, okay? Driving through the heel of your foot is going to help us get into the back side. Keep it going here. Keeping that belly button pulled back to the spine. And remember, you're only going as far down as your neutral back can stay here. Using the hamstrings and glutes to pull yourself back up and time. Good. We're going back to our balance goalpost fly. Very light weights. I've got 2-pound ones here, or no weight, 1 pound, something like that, or no weight. Okay, here we go. Good. Let's switch in 3, 2, and 1. Other foot. Ten more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Good. We're going to go back to our deadlift, and then we're moving on to our next pair, which are those lunges and that halo with our front press. So let's roll our shoulders back and down. All right, we're going to keep these dumbbells relatively close to our legs here as we lower down, pushing the hips back, right? Neutral spine, shoulders are packed, belly button is pulled back. And I'm only lowering as far as I can feel that stretch in the back of my glutes and legs, and then I'm using all of that bit of stretch to try to squeeze and contract myself up. Great exercise to wake up sleepy glutes, work on the back side of our body. Three, 2, and 1. Excellent. We're going into alternating lunges next. You can use your chair. You could do these without the chair. Remember, hands on the front of the chair, side of the chair, no chair. Weight if you're advanced. All right, and here's our seated option. We're going to do a leg extension alternation there. All right, here we go. Remember, if you're still working on the quality of your repetitions, break it down. It's kind of like a, once you get it down, it becomes a smooth transition. But if you're still working on that technique, break it into 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then once you really feel you have that pattern down, you might notice it's a little bit smoother. 5 more seconds here. 2, and 1, okay? We're gonna go into that front press to halo. Every other press, when we press, we'll halo one side, and we're gonna press and halo the other side. And if you forget your direction, that's okay too. Here we go, all right? So keep that core and those glutes nice and tight if you're standing. If you're seated, that's okay. You don't have to worry about that as much. But we're challenging our core and our glutes and our hips to stay nice and still as we're rotating weight and pressing. Working on our shoulder health. We're going back to our second set of lunges after this one. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Moving back to our lunges, option to hold a weight, no weight, use a chair, or give me those alternating leg extensions. Here we go in 3, 2, and 1. Remember that front foot, that heel should always have contact on the floor. If you feel it popping up, we're gonna have to readjust your step back a little bit so you maintain connection on the floor with the heel. We're predominantly working that front leg, although you may feel the back leg a little bit. I want your thought and focus to go into that front leg, driving through that heel. We have 10 more seconds here. 2, and 1. Okay. Second set of our front press to halo. Here we go. Core engaged, glutes tight, and begin. Press, halo. So we're really trying to keep the trunk of our body quiet as we move our upper body around like this. We're moving on next to single arm rows on each side, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so our next exercise, we can use the back of our chair. Split stance, we're pulling that dumbbell in towards our pocket here, okay? If you're seated, you can do it right from a seated position here, pulling back into the pocket, okay? Either seated or standing here. Remember, we're focused on this lat muscle. Maybe it helps if you put your hand on that area, see if you can feel the muscle activating, okay? Because that's the prime mover. So right here, right where this hand is sitting, this is where the muscle's working, okay? Three, 2, and 1. Okay, we're gonna set up for the other side. Here we go in 3, 2, and 1. So that elbow stays close to the body as we pull that weight back towards our pocket. Trying to think about that lat muscle engaging as the dumbbell comes up and back. We're going to do one more set of these before we move on to the last 2 exercises. Ten more seconds here, and we're going to go back to our first arm with this rep. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, back to the first side. Remember the importance of us training our limbs by themselves to help iron out any muscle imbalances. That way our stronger side can't help out our weaker side. Let's get ready, other side. Back to the first one. Check in with yourself to see if that belly button's pulled back towards the spine. See if you can feel that deep mind muscle connection. Remember, it takes a lot, especially in the beginning, it takes a lot of focus. Five more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let's even out, get that other side. And then we're going to move on to our last 2. All right. Setting up. Let's get ready. Other side and begin. Halfway. Ten more seconds on this side. Then we're going to go into a squat to bicep curl. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, next 2 exercises going to be a suitcase squat, bicep curl, and we're going to do a lateral shuffle paired with that. So here we go. Suitcase squat, curl, okay? Keep that chest high. All right, so see my side view here, a little different than our hinge and deadlift pattern here because I'm trying to keep my chest higher up here. So my knees are a little more involved. And you're doing an alternating leg extension with a bicep curl if you're seated. Two and 1. All right, we're pairing that with, we can either do like a windmill shuffle where we, okay, so you do this little hop, hop, pivot, okay, hop, hop, pivot, or you can sidestep it. Let's begin. So sidestep, or you're doing your lateral taps. We're getting those arms involved. Or hop, hop. So whatever mode works for you. Going back to that squat to bicep curl after, and ending the 16-minute circuit with a cardio move here. Three, 2, 1. Okay, one more set. First squat to bicep curl. Remember, if you're seated, you're going to do leg extension, curl. Okay, ready? And begin. Suitcase. We're picking those suitcases up off the floor. Bicep curl. Core is tight. Neutral spine. Chest high. Driving through the heels of the feet as we lift ourselves up, squeezing the glutes, and keep those glutes squeezed while we're doing our bicep curl. Okay, don't unengage them. 5 more seconds. 2 and 1. Okay, going back to our windmill arms with either our side shuffle. You can do a 2-step, okay, somewhere in between, 2-step, or those lateral taps with a windmill arm. So lateral tap, windmill, windmill. Have fun with this one. Take it to an intensity that feels good for you. Remember, it is your workout. You can always take extra recovery time if you need it. We will rest before we put it all together. One more time. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Brief recovery here. That was 16 minutes of work. We're going to do it again, but this time it's only going to be half the time, okay? So get your drink, feel your heart rate and everything normalize here. And we're going to go back to our balanced goalpost fly, okay? Very lightweight or no weight, okay? So here we go. Starting on one leg and switching when I tell you, or marching in 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Back on again. Let's get ready to switch in 3, 2, and 1. Switch sides. We're going into our deadlift next. We're going to keep those knuckles forward facing me. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Keep those weights facing me, right? Roll our shoulders back and down, okay? Core is tight, shoulders are packed. Ready, and begin. We're pushing those hips back, spine is neutral, dumbbells. My knuckles are kind of sort of sliding over my knees. And then right below my knees is where I feel like that's a good spot for me. This could be different on other people. The important thing is we're really treating our hips like a door hinge, right? So our thighs and our lower back should be like the wall in the door, right? Nice and stable. Using those glutes and hamstrings to come back up to standing here. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, going into lunges next. So body weight with some stability of a chair or our alternating leg press. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Side view. Past halfway. Ten seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right, we're moving on to our front press and halo, okay? So remember, core tight, glutes tight, all of this area we're trying to keep very stable and supported. Here we go. Press. So the movement we're only trying to create through our shoulders and arms. Check in with yourself. Are you squeezing your glutes? Are you squeezing your core? Whew. 5 more seconds here. Then we're going to go into our single arm rows on each side. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Moving on to our single arm rows. All right. Remember, this is the muscle that's actually activating that row to pull it into our pocket here. Let's get ready. Pick a side. Here we go. My core is tight. Pulling it back towards that pocket. Halfway. Ten more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. All done with that side, but we still have one more set to even out. Getting ourselves set up, pulling that belly button to spine. Hips are facing towards the floor. Let's begin pulling that weight back and up towards that pocket. Really trying to focus on that mind-muscle connection. Remember, we're trying to think of the source as pulling the weight up. So think of that lat versus think of the hand pulling the weight up, right? We're going into our squat to curl next. We've got 5 more seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Squat to curl. All right, so that suitcase squat. We're picking up those handles of the suitcase with both hands here. Let's get ready and begin. Pick it up, drive through the heels, core is engaged, bicep curl. Trying to keep a neutral spine, chest is high. Control the weights on the way down from that bicep curl. We don't want momentum to drive the exercise. We want our muscles to stay in control. We're going to finish off this shorter section with our cardio component. 3, 2, and 1. So now we're going back to those windmill arms, and you either have a 2-step or a lateral shuffle, or if you're seated, you're going to do a lateral tap, windmill, windmill. Okay, here we go. We're on. We're going to move on to the second half of our workout after this. Some core, foundational moves and core. Ten more seconds here. Think motion is lotion. We're trying to get this synovial fluid moving through our joints here, circular motion and time. All right, guys, let's recover. That was our 8-minute block. So next, we are going into 5 exercises, and we are doing 30 seconds each, 10 seconds recovery, okay? So the first one is going to be a combination move, and it's going to be a foundational move of our deadlift and our squat. So what it's going to look like is we're going to sit squat, stand it up. Okay, remember that first move we did? I'm going to put my knuckles forward, and then I'm going to hinge, okay? Come back up, knuckles come out to the side, sit, squat, drive it up, knuckles forward, hinge, just like we did in that first exercise, but now we're combining our sit squat with that hinge, okay? So I really want to emphasize the difference between a squat and a hinge, and how our squat we're more up here and how our hinge we're more here, okay? All right, so after that, 30 seconds of that, and then we are doing a sumo squat hold with cross body punches. So we're gonna come right outside the width of our heels, slight squat hold. You don't have to be down here, okay? But we do want a little muscle tension here, okay? And we're gonna cross, cross. Staying in the sumo position is gonna help keep our hips forward and work on our obliques as we cross body punch, okay? After that, we're going to do an alternating single. Okay, after that, we're going to go with an overhead hold of the dumbbell, bend, bend, knee pull, bend, bend, knee pull, knee pull. So continuing to work on our obliques and core. And then after that, we are going into a tap back and twist. Okay, so we're gonna tap back and twist, twist, twist. So more twisting. And then our last one is going to be another sit squat, this time knee, knee. Now, if you're advanced, sit squat, drive up, kick, kick, okay? Sit squat, drive up, kick, kick. That or your knee, okay? Or we'll stay seated and do an alternating leg raise there. Okay, so first one, remember we're doing that combination, our sit squat and deadlift. If you're seated, you're gonna press, press, then knee flexion, knee flexion. Okay, so the first one's press it away, and then the second one's kick it, okay? That's your seated variation, alternating between those two. Otherwise, we're doing our sit squat to hinge, okay? Here we go. These are just 30 seconds each, guys, okay? Here we go, and begin. So we're gonna sit squat, drive it up, flip the grip so your knuckles are facing me. Keep the knuckles close to the body as we hinge, pull back up, flip the grip, and then sit it down, okay? I just really want us to recognize the difference between a squat pattern and a hinge pattern, okay? 3, 2, and 1. Okay, let's put our weights down. We're going into our sumo hold with crossbody crunches. Heels right outside the width of the shoulder. If you're seated, it's going to look the same. Here we go. You should feel a slight bit of tension in those legs, that the muscles are holding you in this position. You should feel your hips staying forward and that nice strong thoracic rotation here. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Moving on. Okay. Light dumbbell. If you don't have a dumbbell, you could always just put your hands up like this and do it like that, okay? Here we are. So we're going to side bend, knee, knee, side, side. Five more seconds. 2, and 1. Okay, next one, we're going into those tap backs. We're doing more twists now. Tap, tap. Okay, we're gonna go into a full hip extension here. So I want opening here, right? So twist. So you're gonna punch with the opposite hand. That's where the foot is tapping back, right? So wait, am I saying that wrong? Tap back and you're punching with the same hand. I am saying that wrong. You're just crossing over the body. Tap, tap. So if my left foot is tapping back, I'm punching with my left arm across to my right side. And time, okay, sit squat, to alt knee raise or alt kick if you're advanced, okay? Here we go. I'm gonna sit it all the way down, drive it up, knee, knee, or sit it down, drive it up, kick, kick, okay? Knee, knee. I'm gonna stay with the knee option, but I just wanna make sure I'm being a little more inclusive for our advanced folks. 5, 2, and 1. Okay, that's round 1. We're going back to the top. We're not done with those squats. We're gonna go back to our weighted variation, our sit squat to hinge, okay? Ready? And begin. So now we're loading it up, driving, switching the grip, knuckles forward, hinging, using the hamstrings to glute stand up, switch the grip, and sit it down. I just want you to notice the difference between these two movement patterns because they're similar, but not the same. 5 more seconds here. Starting to feel my body temperature really go up in this circuit. And time, okay. We're going back to those cross-body punches and that sumo hold here, okay? I'm gonna stay isometric. You wanna feel those muscles tight, tension the whole time here. Check in with yourself. Are you squeezing your thighs and your glutes as we rotate through our obliques here? Woo! 5, 2, and 1. Oh my, okay. Side bends to all pull down, okay? So now we're gonna be working on our obliques without rotation, just a side bend. So side bend, pull it up, side bend, pull it up, knee, knee. Side, side. 5, knee, and knee. Nice work, guys. Okay, top, back, and twist. Remember, our goal, we're still working on obliques, and we're thinking about this opening. Okay, we sit a lot as a, culture here, so we're trying to open and get a dynamic, active stretch through our hip flexor as we continue to work on our obliques here. Continue to get the heart rate up. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Squat to knee raise. Next, our sit squat to knee raise, okay? 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. We're gonna sit squat, drive it up, knee, knee. If you want to increase your challenge, maybe think of putting your fingertips behind your ears here, okay? And that just makes it a little bit harder. Or you stick with that front kick. 3, 2, and 1. Nice work, guys. We are almost there. We have one more round of our core circuit here, and then we will cool down. So we're going into our final set of our weighted combo movement here. Let's begin. We're going into our sit squat, drive it up, flip the knuckles, hinge, belly button to spine, flip the knuckles, sit. Drive it up, almost there. 5 seconds, 3, 2, and 1. All done with that one. Okay, we're going into that alternating side bend to alternating knee raise, okay? 3, 2, and 1. Side, back, side, knee, knee. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, back to those tap backs and twists. Remember, we're still working those obliques, going back to rotation. We're looking for openness here, okay? That means squeezing here, okay? Here we go. So in order to open that hip flexor, our glute has to work. That muscle has to fire to open up that hip flexor joint. We're almost done. We've got one more move after this. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Final one, we're going to our body weight sit squat with an alt knee or a front kick, or you can put those fingertips behind the ears. We got a couple different options to try to challenge yourself. So I'm going to stick with the knee. I'm going to challenge myself with the fingertips. Five more seconds. 2 and 1. All right, nice work, guys. We are going to do a cool down here, so go ahead and get a drink. All right, we're going to do a dynamic cool down today. So we're going to start with alternating hip circles, okay? We did a lot of mobility today, so I want to finish up with mobility. So our first move is going to be about 30 seconds of our hip circles. Back, you can do this seated too. All right, so you can still do this from a seated position as well, okay? We're just cooling down, taking our joints through the range of motion. 10 more seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we're going to continue with those circles, but we're going to do 15 seconds the hip circle this way, 15 seconds the other. Here we go. Hip circle, pick a direction to start. Feel your heart rate coming back down under control as we slow our movement down here. Switch in 3, 2, and 1, other direction. Two, and 1. Okay, next we're going to do ankle circles for 15 seconds each side here. So seated or hold on to something if you want, whatever's available for you there. I'm going to take one leg and just circle the ankle. And now switch the direction of it. And let's go ahead and switch to the other leg. Okay, so I'll tell you when to switch direction of that circle. And switch direction. Good. All right, so next we are going to go into a alternating side bend. Okay, I'm going to start going up the body here, stretching out all those obliques. So we'll keep it nice and slow. And I want you to just feel that whole side body. You should feel like all the way down from your hip and all the way up. Just try to enjoy that stretching sensation and not force anything further than it wants to. For instance, if your arm doesn't want to extend straight, if it feels like its full extension is here, that's okay. Go to your edge, okay? Good. And we're going to finish off with some semicircle neck circles here, okay? So just going to drop to one shoulder and then the other. Okay, here we go. One side, over to the other. Seated or standing for this one. Almost done. Last 5. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, guys, excellent. Let's go ahead and give a big inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale. Exhale, hands to heart.